So let us continue with our third speech. So our third speaker is Dr. Dongtao. Dr. Dongtao is research fellow at the East Asian Institute at NUS. He received his PhD in sociology from Stanford University and conducts research in the field of political sociology, especially on state-society relations and nationalism in Taiwan and mainland China. His paper has been published by international peer-reviewed journals such as China Quarterly, Journal of Contemporary China, China and International Journal Issues and Studies, sponsored by the China-US Scholars Program. He is doing research on US-China confrontation over Taiwan and the South China Sea at the 21st Century China Center, University of California at San Diego from September 2021 to May 2022 as a visiting scholar. All right, so Dr. Dongtao, please.
Thank you, Chair. Let me share my PPT. All right. Thanks again for inviting me to give this talk. I'm a Taiwan specialist, and but this topic is totally new for me. But I'm very interested in this topic about the civic technology development in Taiwan. This is a very preliminary study, and in this study, I asked the question whether the civic tech development model in Taiwan has been shifting from a society-driven to government and society co-driven model. So my preliminary answer is yes, and I'll show you some evidence for this model shift. All right, first let's see some highlights of Taiwan civic tech development. Let's start with the Gov Zero, and I think many of you have known it. It was established in 2012 in Taiwan. It is the largest civic tech community in Taiwan, also one of the largest civic tech community in the world, at least on the GitHub. From this, some statistics about the Gov Zero, you can see that they have organized 4 international summits. They have organized 46 hackathons, and also they have been doing 757 projects. So it's quite a fruitful organization. And also from here, we can see that this is the statistics from the GitHub. You can see that here, the Taiwan's Gov Zero is actually quite large, comparable to the to here, the Code for America. Yeah. All right. From the Gov Zero and from other civic tech community in Taiwan emerged this very famous, popular civic technologist whose name is Audrey Tang. I think many of you know her. She was born in 1981, so she is still quite young. Now she's the first digital minister of Taiwan. She joined the government in 2016 here, 2016. But before that, she was the leading figure in Taiwan's civic tech development. She was, one of the founders of the Gov Zero, of V Taiwan, etc., etc. So she's the key person. And before 2016, she was the leading person at the society level to promote the development of civic technology community. And after 2016, after she joined the government, she was working in the government, promoting the government connection with the society, especially with the civic tech community, to promote the civic tech development. So I see that her joining the government as a key milestone event, which indicate a kind of the shifting of the development model from society-driven to government and society-driven. So this is the last highlight. This last highlight shows that after she joined the government, she actually did many things to help the government connect with the civic tech community and to help promote the open government project. One of her major achievements is that she lead a team within the government and within the government, and also with the societies, NGOs, civic tech communities, to draft this first open government national action plan. This action plan has been officially released, and you can see that there are 19 commitments in 5 areas in this plan, such as promoting open data and information transparency, expanding public participation in the public policy, etc., etc. So this is one of her major achievement within the government, connecting the society, evolving many major civic technologies in Taiwan to make this plan, which is a strong indication of the government and society co-driven growth of the civic tech community. Also, under her coordination, Taiwanese government has had this very effective management of the COVID-19 crisis with the society. At least some examples, such as mask map applications, first created by a civic technologist. Then the Audrey Tang opened the government data to him and to other civic technology communities. Then a lot of civic technologists created many similar mask map apps and uploaded them onto the government website. Then Taiwanese people just can easily get the mask from the grocery stores, from pharmacies, so it helps the Taiwan's management of COVID-19 greatly, and there's several other examples. Okay, from these 3 highlights, I hope you can have the impression that the Taiwan's civic technology development is shifting from a society-driven model to a government and society-driven model. Okay, let me explain this process in more details. I first divided the whole process into 3 periods. The first period is from 1980s to 2012. That's before the Gov Zero was established. And the second period is 4 years between 2012 to 2016. That's after Gov Zero was established, but before Audrey Tang joined the government. Then finally, it's after 2016, as since Audrey Tang joined the government. So this, for the first 2 stages, it's basically society-driven model. For the third stage, since 2016, I think it's an emergence of the government and the society co-driven model. And to observe this process, I use a political process theory, which is a mainstream theory in the social movement literature, to explain and to observe the emergence, the growth, and the development and the decline of the social movement. So basically, this theory provides 3 sets of factors to help us to observe the social movement development. And in Taiwan, the civic tech development is at its early stage, it's just like social movement development. So I use this political process theory to observe it. First, this theory proposed contextual factors usually cause political opportunity. That is, what kind of opportunities that the government provided for the civic tech community to grow. The second is the relational factors, including the mobilization through organizations, networks, or other channels. Basically, it's an organization issue or the recruitment issue, how the social movement organization, how the civic tech community recruit participants. I will observe, I will explore whether they are more independent and co-mobilization by the civic tech community and the government. And finally, the last factor is the cultural factors. That is the discursive framing to justify and inspire the movement. To have a successful movement, you not only need you need to have not only the opportunities but also the organization and networks and participants, and but also finally you need to have the good justification why your movement is important, should be supported. So this is about the cultural factors, discursive framing. I will explore whether there are better collaboration in framing and a deeper convergence of discourse between the civic tech communities and governments in Taiwan. All right, very quickly, for the first stage, the context is quite actually complex because the Taiwan in the first stage before 2012 has been experiencing rapid political, economic, social transition. I don't have time to talk about this transition in detail, but I just want to briefly indicate that this transition could be analyzed from several aspects. First is the political aspect. That is the Taiwan has been experiencing democratization and democratic consolidation, such as in 1986, the first opposition party was established. That was DPP, the Democratic Progressive Party. In 1996, Taiwan had its first popular presidential election, and in 2000, Taiwan had the first regime change from KMT, the old one-party rule, to the DPP, this new opposition party. And then in 2008, there's another regime change from the DPP to the KMT. That is KMT returned to power. So politically speaking, this is a very unstable period because of the democratization and the democratic consolidation. But interestingly, during this period, almost all the aspects of the Taiwan's governance has been improving, except for the political stability. This is according to the World Bank's governance indicator. You can see the indicator shows very clearly that Taiwan's governance level improved constantly, except for its political stability. This is the first very important context. The second is about economy. Taiwan's economy, after miracle kind of economic miracles for 3 decades, it went into this post-development period with a lot of social issues, which is common for many developed world. Many social issues, pollution, the social welfare issues, social justice issues, and then also along these issues, along with the democratization, there is a rising civil society, internet, and digital society in Taiwan. And this society, the Taiwanese society, is very resistant. It's very resisting against the government, against the establishment. This is the context from the society level. And finally, the context about the government opportunity, the government, under the pressure of the society resistance and protest, the government has been trying to open itself to the society, trying to adopt more social opinions in their governance. For example, they established e-government program, and they required citizen participation in their administrative procedure law, and they also passed the freedom of government information law, which is very helpful for the civic technology development in Taiwan. Okay, after the context, after you understand the context, you probably want to understand the organizations and mobilization of civic technology in Taiwan during that period of time. During that period of time, the open source communities have kind of gone into the Taiwanese society, like first in 1995, and they also have this Yahoo Open Hack Day, first in 2008. This shows that before the establishment of Gov Zero, there already have a lot of networks of civic technologies, or we can call it hacker networks. So what about the framing? Framing, because of this civic tech communities learn from the Western mature democracies about the hackers' skills, cultures, and the hacker culture is very democratized, is very pro-democracy, pro-freedom. So actually, within Taiwan's civic tech communities, it's just like a democracy forerunners in Taiwan. All right, this is the first stage. The second stage, which is the most, I think, is most important stage for the civic.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you wrap up in 3 minutes?
In 3 minutes.
Yes.
All right. Okay. For the second stage is that the context is that the rising user resistance against the KMT government, and the civic tech communities join this youth resistance against the KMT government with the technology support to those protests. Organization is that the established of the Gov Zero in 2012, and also the establishing of the Open Culture Foundation 2 years later, and they have a bi-monthly hackathon. And there are a lot of independent projects done by the civic tech communities, and also some collaboration between the government and the civic tech community in Taiwan. And the framing, this is interesting part, because during this time, we see the emerging new civic technologies identity with Taiwanese characteristics. This doctor, MC Lee, wrote this whole dissertation on this civic technologies identity. She is an anthropologist. Her dissertation that described the civic technology identity in Taiwan as a noble day culture. I don't have time to explain that, but it's very interesting. It's very unique for Taiwan. And also, very gradually, Taiwan's discourse on civic tech has started shifting from open source at society level to open government at the government level. And the KMT government also did a lot of work to improve the Taiwanese government's openness. For example, their ranking in the global open data in 2013 ranking is only 36. Then 2 years later, their ranking is #1 in the world. So they have done a lot of work. All right, but still the Open Culture Foundation's Open Government report still criticize the KMT government's open government projects a lot. All right, and finally the last stage, the context is that, after DPP took power, there is improved social and political stability, and then the pandemic. So basically, on the organization and mobilization side, a main event, as Taiwan has presented about the Taiwan case. In Taiwan, is very similarly the case that civic technology communities work with the government closely to manage the civic manage the pandemic very well. And because the Audrey Tang joined the government, because her her introduction of this government society co-driven model to the world, to the international media, Taiwan's international publicity has been rising. Of course, its publicity, international publicity rise also due to other factors, but Audrey Tang's introduction, Audrey Tang's presentation about the Taiwan case are really a big contributor to the rising international publicity of Taiwan. The framing is that even the digital democracy of Taiwan started contributing to Taiwan's national identity in the international community against another kind of negative example of China's authoritarian, digital authoritarianism. So, okay, I don't have time to explain this in more details, but okay, finally, some theoretical policy-related reflections on adaptability. My observation of the Taiwanese case is that, I think civic tech communities in Taiwan, also in other countries, in different contexts, has this relatively higher adaptability than other social movement organizations or social movement sectors, actually. So this is one of the major reasons why it thrives in different contexts, in different government-society relations. It could thrive in Taiwan, in Japan, even in China, in a kind of authoritarian country. Okay, but I have other reflections on this Taiwan case, but I don't have time. Okay, that's all. Thank you for your time.